The female figure in art, beauty, symbolism, and expression. Introduction. Why has the female figure inspired artists for thousands of years? From ancient sculptures carved in stone to contemporary paintings displayed in modern galleries, the female form has remained one of the most enduring subjects in the history of art. This fascination is not simply about physical appearance. Artists have long used the female figure to explore ideas far larger than the body itself. Through painting, sculpture, and drawing, the female figure has represented beauty, love, fertility, wisdom, strength, mystery, spirituality, and even entire civilizations. Every era has viewed the female figure differently. Each culture has brought its own beliefs, values, and ideals to artistic representation. As a result, the history of the female figure in art is also a history of humanity's changing understanding of beauty and identity. In this exploration, we will travel through centuries of artistic expression, examining how artists have interpreted the female figure, what those representations reveal about society, and why this subject continues to inspire artists today. The story begins long before museums, galleries, and famous paintings. It begins at the dawn of human civilization. Ancient ideals of beauty. Long before written language, early humans created images of the human body. Among the oldest surviving artworks are small figurines of women discovered across Europe and Asia. These ancient objects, often dating back tens of thousands of years, suggest that the female figure held special significance even in prehistoric societies. Many of these figures emphasized fertility and abundance. Rounded forms and exaggerated features were often highlighted, reflecting the importance of survival, motherhood, and continuity within early communities. These artworks were not created according to modern ideas of beauty. Instead, they reflected the values and needs of the people who made them. As civilizations developed, artistic representations became increasingly sophisticated. In ancient Egypt, artists followed strict rules of proportion and symbolism. Figures were idealized rather than individualized. The goal was not to portray a specific person exactly as they appeared but to represent order, harmony, and permanence. Ancient Greece introduced a different perspective. Greek artists became fascinated by balance, proportion, and the study of the human body. Although male sculpture often received greater emphasis, female figures gradually emerged as symbols of grace, beauty, and divine presence. For Greek artists, beauty was closely connected to harmony. The human body became a reflection of larger ideals about balance and perfection in nature. The female figure was not merely a subject. It was a way of exploring philosophical questions about beauty itself. These early traditions would influence artists for centuries to come. Beauty beyond appearance. One of the greatest misconceptions about the female figure in art is that it is only about physical beauty. In reality, artists often use the human figure to express ideas that cannot be easily described with words. A painting may depict a woman, but the true subject may be courage. Another artwork may appear to celebrate beauty while actually exploring vulnerability, hope, memory, or transformation. Throughout history, artists have understood that viewers naturally connect with human figures. People recognize emotions, gestures, and expressions instinctively. Because of this connection, the female figure became a powerful visual language. A single pose could communicate strength. A gaze could suggest mystery. A gesture could imply compassion. The figure served as a bridge between the visible world and the invisible world of ideas and emotions. This ability to symbolize deeper meanings became especially important during later artistic periods. The Renaissance vision. The Renaissance marked one of the most significant turning points in the history of art. Inspired by the rediscovery of classical Greek and Roman traditions, artists began studying anatomy, perspective, and the natural world with renewed enthusiasm. The female figure became a central subject for many painters and sculptors. Artists sought to combine technical mastery with emotional expression. They studied how light moved across the body. They observed proportions and structure. They explored how posture and gesture could communicate feeling. For Renaissance artists, beauty was often viewed as a reflection of higher truths. Physical beauty could suggest spiritual beauty. Harmony in form could symbolize harmony in nature. The female figure became a meeting point between earthly experience and artistic idealism. Paintings from this period frequently portrayed women as symbols of love, virtue, grace, and inspiration. Yet these works were rarely intended as simple records of appearance. Artists interpreted reality rather than merely copying it. They sought to create images that embodied their highest artistic aspirations. The result was a body of work that continues to influence artists today. The female figure as symbol. As art evolved, the female figure increasingly became a symbol for abstract ideas. Throughout different periods and cultures, artists used women to represent concepts such as love, nature, wisdom, justice, freedom, hope, renewal. Even entire nations were sometimes represented through female imagery. Why? Because symbols allow artists to communicate complex ideas visually. Rather than illustrating an abstract concept directly, artists could embody it within a human form. A viewer might not immediately recognize every symbolic meaning. Yet the emotional impact remained powerful. The figure became more than an individual person. It became a visual language. This symbolic tradition continues in contemporary art, although modern artists often reinterpret these ideas in new and unexpected ways. Changing standards of beauty. One of the most fascinating aspects of art history is how dramatically standards of beauty have changed over time. What one era considered beautiful may differ significantly from another. Some periods favored fuller figures. Others preferred slender forms. Different cultures emphasized different features, proportions, and ideals. These changing standards remind us that beauty is not fixed. It evolves alongside society. Art provides a unique record of these changes. By studying paintings and sculptures from different centuries, we gain insight into how people viewed themselves and the world around them. Artists often reflected cultural values, but they also challenged them. Some artists embraced prevailing ideals. Others questioned them. Still others introduced entirely new perspectives. The history of the female figure in art is therefore not a single story. It is many stories unfolding across time. Observation and interpretation. A common misunderstanding about artistic representation is that artists simply reproduce what they see. In reality, every artwork involves interpretation. Even the most realistic painting contains countless decisions. What should be emphasized? What should be simplified? What mood should be created? How should light be used? Which details matter most? Two artists observing the same person may produce entirely different artworks. Neither is necessarily more accurate. Each reflects a unique way of seeing. This is especially true when working with the human figure. Artists are not merely recording anatomy. They are responding to personality, emotion, atmosphere, and meaning. The female figure becomes a subject through which artists explore their own creative vision. Observation provides the foundation. Interpretation gives the artwork its voice. Contemporary perspectives. Modern and contemporary artists approach the female figure in ways that would have been unimaginable in earlier centuries. Today there is greater emphasis on diversity, individuality, and personal experience. Artists explore identity from multiple perspectives. They challenge traditional assumptions. They examine how culture influences ideas about beauty. They celebrate uniqueness rather than conformity. Contemporary art often asks questions rather than providing answers. What is beauty? Who defines it? How do images influence self-perception? How should artists represent the human experience? These questions continue to inspire discussion and creative exploration. As society changes, artistic representation evolves alongside it. Yet despite these changes, one thing remains constant. Artists continue returning to the human figure because it remains one of the most powerful ways to explore human experience. Why the female figure endures. After thousands of years, the female figure remains one of the most enduring subjects in art. Why? because it allows artists to explore themes that never lose relevance. Beauty, identity, emotion, connection, transformation, humanity itself. The female figure is not simply a subject. It is a doorway into larger conversations about life, culture, and meaning. Artists may differ in style. They may differ in technique. They may differ in philosophy. Yet generation after generation, they continue to find inspiration in the human form. Perhaps this is because art is ultimately about understanding ourselves. And the human figure remains one of the most direct and universal ways to begin that journey. The story of the female figure in art is still being written. New artists continue to contribute new perspectives. New audiences continue to discover new meanings. And the conversation between beauty, symbolism, and expression continues to evolve. That is why this subject remains timeless.